Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Magical Maiden and this is my jewelry tutorials. So if you tuned in today, what you're going to see is a kind of a continuation from my last video. Now, I'm going to try to zoom in better here. What you're going to need for this project is some of these filigree stars. Okay, and I showed you them from my last tutorial with the shooting star earrings. And in case you haven't seen that, please go check that out. It's on my jewelry tutorial playlist, the second playlist on my channel. So they only came in gold. They came with crescent moons as well and other shapes. But it's okay because I took a spray paint, a high mirror shine spray paint to give it that shine. Okay. And that's how shiny, they'll look just as shiny as the gold. Now, I don't prefer gold, but some people prefer gold. And it's good to have different kind of colors in case you make them to give as gifts or to sell. But I will say this, that if you can find these shapes in the color you want, that's great, but I couldn't. So it had a combination of both and I just got them, and it's no trouble to spray paint them. And once you spray paint them, make sure they're good and dry. Give them a day or two, and I would hang them with a wire so you get both sides and let them dry good. Then if you want to add a little extra sparkle, put some of this glitter nail polish. Now the one I used was Sinful Colors in Beauty Queen, or Queen of Beauty rather. I liked it because they were very tiny sparkles, not big and chunky, because then that's a little too much. And I like using nail polish because it gives me more control rather than putting Mod Podge and sprinkling some glitter on it. I prefer to do this method. It gives me much better control with the little brush. And then what you can do is then add some iridescent gemstones, small ones, little ones, okay, to like the center of that. So now I'm going to get these out of the way. For this project, I'm going to make a shooting star choker necklace. And it's going to have the chains going like this. Now I haven't decided what chains I'm using, but I would use some 4mm jump rings, some chain, whatever kind you choose. It could even be rhinestone chain, and then some clear type of iridescent shiny beads. Okay, so today what we're going to be making is a shooting star choker type necklace. So the first thing you're going to need, of course, is your jewelry working tools. You're also going to need some 4mm jump rings. It's the package. They don't have to be thick. Okay. Now, I'm doing this as I go along. So my idea is to have a choker necklace that is similar to the shooting star earrings I showed you, but it's going to be on a chain and it's not going to be dripping down. It's going to be going towards that way. Okay. So first you want to get some chain. Look, you can get any kind of chain you want. You can string some beads if you'd like, which can go like that, or you can get little star beads and dangle them off, which I might do. I can redo this after. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get some wire. This is about 18 gauge wire, and you know, if you want thicker, you can get thicker, and get some like nice crystally beads. They could be iridescent, they could be smaller than this. These aren't too big, but okay. And you get the wire. You're going to take your round nose pliers and make a little loop at the end, and then we're going to cut just enough to make another loop. Leave some behind, and go ahead and make another loop. And this is going to be so that we can put our jump rings on. Okay? It's just going to be so we can connect our jump rings to them, and the 4mm jump ring like that. So you can use about 3 or 4 of them, because then we're going to attach the piece of chain to them. We're also going to need some 6mm jump rings with some 6mm jump rings in between. And then I'm going to have my star that's going to be connected with a 4mm jump ring, and then some of the chain. And you want to measure the chain to go directly to kind of the center of your neck, because this is going to be offset on your neck. Okay, so it's going to be like this, just to give you the idea. Okay, and then we're going to hook chains going like this. So you want to make sure that you're not cutting the chain until after you finish doing that, so you can see how much you have to cut. Otherwise, if you cut too short or too much, you're just wasting it. So once you do this and make the loop on both ends, go do it to the other. So I'm going to do it to the others off camera, and then when it's time to hook everything up, I'll come right back. Okay, so now that I've threaded the wire and made the loops, I am now going to take some of my 6mm jump rings. I'm going to take my 6mm jump rings. See the difference? That's a 4mm. These are the 6mm for those who don't really know. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook these all up. But before I do anything, I want to see how I'm going to do this, because the star is going to kind of be like that. Do I want to use the little one? I think so for the first one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 4mm jump ring. And I don't know about you, but I use a magnifying light because these are so tiny and it's easier for me to see and easy on my eyes. So I'm going to put it through the tiny loop. You don't want to make the loop too big, otherwise you're just going to see your loop. And nobody wants to see that. Now I'm going to take my chain nose and my round nose, and I'm going to close the jump ring. Make sure that jump ring is closed, because you don't want to lose anything. Okay, so now I've gotten that attached, and so you're going to do that to the very end of the filigree star if you're using one of these filigree stars. And I'm going to leave you the link to the set of filigree earrings. It'll be below in the video. It'll be below this video in the description box in case you're interested. But for the beads and everything, I mean, I've got these at Hobby Lobby, Michael's. You can go to Panda Hall, BB Crafts, anything you want, you can find all these things. Okay, but I got these off of Amazon, and I think this was Panda Hall, but I'm not sure. So now what I'm going to do is I want to take my 6mm jump ring and I want to attach these two together. Okay, so now I attached all 3 of these to the star. What I want to do now is I want to attach a chain. Now, like I said, you can make it all of these if you want all the way up. That's up to you, but I wanted a little something different for these. And what I'm doing now is I'm taking this and attaching it with a 4mm. So I'm getting my 4mm jump ring. I need 4mm and 6mm jump rings. Openings are very small. A 4mm, that a thin one. You don't want those really thick jump rings for that. So now I'm going to put it to the loop and I'm going to close it. Make sure that jump ring's nice and closed. There's no gaps. I don't want to wear it and then have it fall apart. So now it's going to look something like this. Okay? Okay, I checked it so it was sitting correctly on my neck. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 6mm jump ring to the end of that chain, because later on the other side I'm going to be adding a clasp. Now you can use any kind of clasp that you prefer. Okay, so the next step is I cut a bunch of chain about 5 inches long. I have to attach these chains first to a 6mm jump ring. Okay, So I'm going to open that up and I'm going to get the chains because this will not fit, this chain will not fit through that big one. So that'll come later. Sure, it's very important because you don't want to lose all these chains. Make sure that that jump ring is good and shut. And then we'll cut the other side of the chain later. So now we got to take some of our 4mm jump rings and we're going to attach each of these to the shooting star. Okay, so now what I want to show you, and I'm going to move all these things out of the way. It gets pretty crowded around here when you have all your supplies. So I haven't cut the chain yet. It's still attached to my roll. And what I did was I took 4 of these to the star in different areas, and then the rest of them all to a 6mm jump ring, which I then attached that 6mm jump ring to the chain. So what you got is something that kind of looks like this, okay? Or you can have it like this on your neck, however you want. But now what we're going to do is we're going to see, before we cut it, because this is supposed to be a choker, how much we're going to cut off. And chokers are typically 16 inches around, so you'll want to do that, but you can get a mirror. I have my little mirror, and I'm going to go ahead and see, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and cut about 6 inches off. Now, if I decide later that it's too long, I can always cut some extra. It's better to make it a little longer than it is shorter because you can always make it shorter if you want it so. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 6mm jump ring, a 4mm jump ring, and then attach my clasp. So the 4mm jump ring attached to the chain and then to the clasp. So I'm going to do that right now. And okay, so I'm taking my 4mm jump ring, and now I'm going to attach it to the very end of the chain. And like I said, if I find that this sits too long, I'll just remove it and then I'll cut the chain and then add the jump ring back on. Now I'm going to get it into position to close, but I'm not going to close it because I'm going to add the lobster claw clasp. Now you want to make sure that the way you put this is going to be like facing down, because if you face this upside down, then you're going to have a problem when you go to shut and open and close the clasp. So it should be facing with the little lever facing up towards you and the opening of the clasp facing down, okay? And the opening will be on the side, and we're going to go ahead and close this and make sure it's shut good because we don't want to lose this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go try it on, see how it sits before I proceed. Okay, so I've gone and done that, and I like the length that it's at. It could go a little shorter, but I like it. Now you see how that is? This is a shooting star. So when you put it on your neck, you can have it off to the side like that, making it look like it's shooting. And if you don't want these, that's okay, but I just like to add a little bling to things. Now, you could add a few more chains, but I think that's enough. And what I'm going to do is, now like I said, if you have rhinestone chains, go ahead and use those. But I want to add a little of these stars, these little tiny stars that I have. I have bigger ones, but I like the smaller ones. And I'm just going to add one like here, here, and here. You can hang these 3, or if you find smaller ones, and it'll look like that. And I hung it to the bottom of that chain. So this is what it's going to look like. All right. Now, for the final things, I have to put some glitter over here. Then I'm going to let it dry. And then I'm going to put one of these iridescent stickers on it with a little E6000 glue. Adhesive. But the adhesive that's on there isn't going to keep it on there permanently. It's not really that strong. So you're going to be wearing this and you're going to want to make sure that's in the center. Get some rubbing alcohol. Get a Q-tip and then go over the little gemstone. You'll clear any fingerprints that you got and any glue. Just give it that little shine that you want. Go ahead and also add some like beads like this to it if you want. Maybe like 3 hanging down because it's a shooting star. You don't have to. It might get too busy. I'm just going to leave those 3 stars there. Okay, so this is what it looks like on. It's my shooting star. Now you can do it this way, or you can have it more that way, or you can go ahead and wear it this way, or just regular like centered. And anyway, so either way that you put it, it's still going to sit nicely. It'll still get that idea across that it's a shooting star, falling star. And again, you don't have to put these 3. You could put all 3 of these all the way up, or you could just have a chain and don't put these 3. You don't have to hang stars. You can do anything you want. But that's the way I like it. I like the way it looks, and I can play with it and wear it any way I want. And I like the little bit of sparkle, and it's going to go nicely with my shooting star earrings or falling star earrings. And that's what I'm going to wear together. Some of you might remember my moon and star earrings. So this is my other moon and star earrings. This is my other project that I did with the moon and stars. It's a necklace. Now I didn't add glitter to these, but I can later on if I choose. But I did add the iridescent to both the crescent moon. I used one of those little star crystals and some teardrops, and that's what that one looked like. So now I'm going to show you what the necklace that I just did looks like. So this is what it looks like when it's finished and it's hanging. And again, you can add more chain if you want. You can add any kind of chain, or the rhinestone chain, and these are the little star beads. And that's it. If you enjoyed this jewelry tutorial, and don't forget to look below this video in the description box for the link to these filigree stars. It's a set, and remember they come in gold and you can spray paint it. And go ahead and try this project and get crafting. And I'll see you in my videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.